Hi everyone and welcome to your daily horoscope and tarot reading. We have a very active and very powerful sky where today's square between Mercury and Jupiter and Pluto is going to start a wave of information, a wave of truth, clarity coming into our lives from the public stage. So this marks the start of a period where information, discoveries, disclosures, clarity and the truth is going to be pouring into our lives from each and every possible source, which on one hand is absolutely fantastic because all of us need this to happen in our lives. But the problem might be that the information we might receive, regardless if it's from the media, internet, our own personal realizations and epiphanies, or simply said, the result of our contemplation and trying to process what is going on. Now, that information is going to be really multi-dimensional, multifaceted. It's going to be rather confusing, so you really need to strengthen yourself up to process all of this. Of course, some of the information is definitely going to be indirect, as in that Pluto and Jupiter conjunction in the sign of Capricorn, as I've been telling you the past couple of weeks, is exposing the truth of centralized power, their corruption, incompetence, all the flaws and weaknesses, everything that they do not have power over to fix, but also the cover ups, also the deception, the lies, and etc. So some of the information is simply your own conclusion, as in you observe the events taking place in physical reality in the world, so to speak, and you can clearly see that many things don't add up. You can clearly perceive that the change is really powerful, it is really intense, and it is already unstoppable. So this can produce very many different reactions, so to speak, from the individual. As in, on one hand, it's definitely clarity, it is definitely your mind starting to get a grip on what's actually going on. Your own personal picture, the big picture of what's going on in the world, is starting to form. You're starting to see things more clearly, but this doesn't mean that it's not concerning, it is not frightening, because it definitely is, because most of the truth that is being revealed to us is that we are living in chaos, and chances are we are not going to exit this chaos anytime soon. But of course, this is a period of big and profound change, so it is also to be expected. So, because we are being pressured from all sides, both from the world stage, as in the media, the news, the information, but also from within us, because this is a really powerful moment, go within and embody our inner truth, to refine it, to purify it, to purge it. So these energies are going to be really intense and really disruptive, both emotionally, both mentally. So it's going to challenge almost every single area of our lives, maybe our interhuman connections, may it be our relationships with the self, may it be our jobs, careers, material situation, you name it. So that is why I would like to dedicate today's reading, today's horoscope, for those people who are helping others, psychologists, spiritualists, astrologers, tarot readers, parapsychologists, counselors, personal trainers, guides, whoever is working with people, whoever is helping and supporting people psychologically. Because after all, that is what we're doing, that is the work we're doing. We're supporting people with the power of our wisdom, knowledge, and personal studies. So it is a psychological help, so to speak, to reinforce the inner power of another person. So it is really important for you guys, for all of us, to know that heavy times are approaching in our lives, where people are going to be emotional, people are going to be irrational, people are going to be frightened, many people will all of a sudden uh, have a breakdown in their relationships with the self, because whatever is being revealed right now internally, so to speak, is going to depict the picture that they were total aliens and strangers to themselves all their lives because they were caught up in society's big illusions. So they never had a moment to sit down with themselves. And that is why, for you guys, those who are doing the work, the support work, this is going to be a really intense period because people will get frightened, people will get shocked. Yes, this shock can be positive and negative because when they discover how talented and skilled and loving they are, of course they will want to explore that side of theirs and they'll turn to you guys. So this is going to be a really intense and heavy and hard period for all of us. So not only will you have to do your own inner work, because you're always evolving, you're always trying your very best to help people, so the pressure will also surface from the inside, but at the same time you're gonna have a lot of work, a lot of people are gonna contact you. So the reason why I'm doing today's video is to prepare you, is to support you, is to show you the picture what to expect, both globally, both on the world stage, your local community, but also in your own psychology. So one of the aspects I need to highlight is Mercury receiving a square from Jupiter and Pluto. Now why is this very important? As I've spoken about this in the previous videos, now Jupiter and Pluto are revealing secrets, are exposing the naked truth of whatever is going on the world stage, centralized power and all of that, but also personally our own life paths, or depending on where Capricorn falls into personal charts of people. But regardless of how this manifests, it is exposing, it is revealing, it is forcing us to witness, to observe, to accept the truth. All of this is absolutely fine if it just happens on the world stage, but since Mercury is in the sign of Eris, a sign which has to do with our heads, with our instincts, with who we are at the very core of our beings, our primordial selves, this means that this also has a very powerful impact, a very significant effect on all of us individually, on all of our individual personal psychologies. Because Mercury being in that part of the sky makes us that much aware of what we have in our instincts, what we have in our minds, but at the same time our deepest primordial instinctual feelings and our attitudes and what we project onto others basically. And Mercury is not alone in this part of the sky, but Mercury today is meeting Eris, goddess of discord, which is a really powerful revolutionary energy, especially in the fiery sign of Aries. So this can all of a sudden trigger our instincts more profoundly, more perhaps assertively, violently than ever before, because Jupiter and Pluto are definitely going to represent the challenges, the limitations, all of the filth that is going on the world stage, and it's not just about the physical limitations, it is basically their incompetence, their chaos that is limiting us and taking away our liberty, our confidence, our hopes and dreams. So this energy can stir up a very powerful inner reaction of rebellion, of frustration, of revolution, of not being able to basically take it anymore, and not because of your expressed willpower, not because you desire this, but rather your instincts scream at you. It comes from the most primordial part of your being, so that means that you have a limited power over this. Because if you're not a person who has been working on self-discipline and self-control all your life, well then you're not gonna be successful at containing your frustration and anger. So why I'm telling you this is because this will definitely start a period of protests, of rebellion, of revolution, of people trying their very best to take justice in their own hands, to express their anger verbally through any other means of self-expression, especially the internet, especially the media warfare, the psychological warfare that is going on on the world stage, the manipulations, the lies, the conspiracies, and different conspiracies battling each other, trying to gain ground. And also, some of the conspiracies are actually fed into us by centralized power and the control they have over media, and this is absolutely clear as daylight for everyone. So this is when people are gonna get much more irrational. This is when people are definitely going to have enough, and they have the courage, because this courage is not the Martian type of courage, even though this area of the sky is ruled by Mars, but this is where Mars is instinctual, so self-discipline will not always be a valid option, because how can we obtain it if physical reality and losing normality of our lives is pressuring us so much? But at the same time, everyone who works on the internet, everyone who communicates, everyone who shares their creations, their opinions, their mind, can be challenged more than ever on the internet or wherever you share your work and opinions, your truth, so to speak. So challengers are going to be filling our lives from every different direction, where it can take the form of criticism, where it can take the form of verbal assertion, where other people are just challenging everything, acting very irrationally, acting with anger, with frustration, with rage. And we are getting to the point where it's so chaotic that people don't even choose their victims anymore. Whatever doesn't resonate with them and enters their sphere of awareness, they're definitely gonna type their opinions, their criticism. This aspect basically takes away our self-confidence, our sense of security, and not as much what has to do with us personally, but how can we be that self-confident when the world around us, when external reality is in chaos? What chances does one single individual have to make that much of a difference? So everyone is seeking alliances. Everyone wants to belong at least to a small group who share the same principles and the same ideals. So by now you get the idea that this is a massive informational warfare, where even if you are not part of it directly, but if your work, if your form of self-expression, or however you support other people has to do with the internet or online or interhuman connections, well, then you have no choice but to defend yourself and to prepare for this big chaos that's about to come. Now, on the other hand, just after yesterday's new moon in the sign of Taurus, now the sun receives a conversation of tension from Saturn in Aquarius. And now this energy is that of challenges and limitations. It is extremely tense, but still it can play out in a number of different ways, and for every person it can play out totally differently. So for some people this is like a very heavy psychological energy, when their self-confidence is simply shattered and fading to dust, because they can no longer see their own values for the global expression of the value system, so to speak, has all of a sudden, unexpectedly, changed 180 degrees. Their own normality is not valid anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. So they were, how should I say, caught off guard. So they don't have anything to ground themselves into. So their self-worth, their self-respect, their self-confidence also vanished into thin air. So the power of the square is trying to be a motivating energy for them to rediscover it, or for them to build a much stabler inner structure, so to speak. Now, for other people, this can represent criticism, conflicts, challenging, reaching them from their interhuman connections, or from the internet, or from their colleagues, their professional lives, whatever. But this is also forcing them to reevaluate how their lives are going to be playing out in the future, because they do not like this energy. They do not like this chaotic normality, so they will try their very, very best to reformat themselves, to make very significant changes, but until those changes can be enacted, they have to know how that change is going to look like inside of them. It has to crystallize in their minds, it has to crystallize in their psyche. Now, for others, still, this can be an energy which has to do with matter, which has to do with their financial situations, because Taurus is the house of personal values after all. So, for some people, the imminence that they're gonna lose out, that they're gonna have a rather scarce material situation in the close future, is very obvious to them, and this is forcing them to make different plans to try to come up with solutions before the worst of the worst enters into their lives, before the inevitable takes place and our economy crashes. For these people, this energy represents the innovatory, visionary, future planning energy of Aquarius, where finding their distinctiveness, tapping into the power of their own intellect, of the genius of their minds, is forcing them, motivating them basically, to come up with the most ingenious, the most unique, and the most practical solutions for them to ultimately avoid total financial disaster. While for others still, this inevitable financial disaster is actually a blessing, because they are willing to sacrifice everything just to begin a new life which reflects totally different, a totally unique inner value system. Now, this isn't only negative. For some people, it's even a better energy. It is even a better opportunity, because as the world is standing still, so to speak, they have all the time to refine their own values. The sun is a luminary body, so amongst any other expression this energy can take, it's also revelatory. It also sheds light on our true inner values. For some people, inner values like their morality, their dignity, their love, their honesty, their compassionate natures are the biggest values that they found within themselves, and they are making the decision that it doesn't matter how the future is gonna look like, but they're never gonna allow external reality or social rules and regulations to ever get near to take their true worth away. Because for these people, their inner values, their inner worth, is the biggest and most important part of what self-esteem represents, and this is the future they're definitely going to be building for themselves. Now, a totally different way this energy can be enacted is that Taurus is definitely the symbol of Mother Earth. It is the symbol of nature, the physical Earth, the planet that we live on. So for some people, this is a perfect opportunity to just break away from society, break away from modern life, and do what they have always wanted to do: live in nature. So for some people, especially those who have been dreaming about this, wanting this, wishing this, but could never somehow find a way to enable it, because this isn't an easy thing to do, especially if you've been in society all your life, if you never had the chance in life to just be free in nature. But still, if you heard that inner calling and you desired this, well, this is a perfect opportunity, because the chaos also represents the deconstruction of society's rules and traditions, so to speak. So this is a perfect chance to just break free, because for these people it is very obvious that an opportunity to break free is definitely going to enter their spheres in the close future, because deconstruction, financial crisis, the crash of the economy, the crash of trade is going to open up exactly these windows of opportunity for them to escape. This is the blessing within the chaos. So they might make the decision that they don't want to reconstruct anything, they just want to go escape into nature and just start a new life. But regardless of how this energy manifests, regardless of what that sun illuminates, either for us personally or collectively, one thing is definite. things are never gonna be the same again, and going back to our usual lives, the lives we were living maybe 2 or 3 months ago, is already an ideal, and it is already almost impossible to accomplish. So basically, the power of the square is inviting us either in a more pleasant and inspirational way, or in a very chaotic way, that we cannot go back to our old lives and we have to go with the flow. We need to allow the collective changes, as in Uranus in Taurus, to enter and manifest in our own lives, because we have to allow our inner traditions, our inner value systems, which were based on past normality, to just fall apart so we can reconstruct. Some people have already done this because they received guidance and intuitive information, so to speak, in the 2019 or in even earlier. But for other people, this is the moment when it's knocking on the door and there's no option not to open that door because it's gonna break in anyway. Now, for the tarot reading, I do believe that even the tarot cards bear a significant message for those people out there who are psychologically supporting others, who are doing this kind of work, this kind of contribution. So the reading is opened by the Seven of Wands, which is a card of endurance, which is a card of standing your ground, holding your defenses. Of course, not as much because you're forced to do this, but because you choose it. It also has a side to it which has to do with determination, ambition, and just knowing what your job is, knowing what your goals are, and you're defending it. You're not allowing anything internal or external to get in your way, because you are perfectly aligned both with the importance of your mission, and you might be enacting the principle to be the change you'd like to see in the world. So you are definitely taking all of this, all your work, all of what you're doing, and also your own position towards this global crisis with maximum seriousness. But regarding the future, this also represents that challenges are definitely going to be heading your way. Now, these challenges, some of them are definitely internal, where you might have moments where you lose your confidence, where you might have moments when you just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And these are all perfectly natural and normal reactions, because you're not made out of steel and stone. You're a human being who has feelings. So, yes, this is like your attempt to hold your ground internally, to hold down a state of inner balance, to hold your frequency as high as you can, because your frequency isn't just feeding you and your own well-being, but your frequency is also related to your work. So it is absolutely imperative that you keep it, that you hold it, because if you break down, well, then you won't be able to do your work, at least for a period of time. But on the other hand, as the Five of Wands follows, this is the card of conflict, this is the card of battle, this is the card of challenges. Yes, competition, but competition can be seen as a positive, playful thing, so to speak, or it can represent where you really have a choice, you're just in it. You just find yourself that you're in some kind of battle or between two opposing forces, and you're supporting both of them. So this is going to definitely complicate your life, very much so, because not only do you have to hold your frequency, stand your ground, defend your inner truth, defend your principles, your honor, your dignity, your equity, so to speak, but you also need to overcome all these challenges, all this competition, so to speak, without changing sides, or without changing your position, or without significantly changing your alliances. So, psychologically, it is definitely not going to be an easy time, but as the card suggests, you have absolutely everything that you need inside to make it to 100% be successful at defending yourself and your principles and your point of view, your opinion, whatever. And also, at one specific moment in the close future, all of these challenges, all of these battles, all of the criticism maybe, or two sides clashing with each other are going to lead to a resolution, and you also have to be there when that happens, because you are going to be someone who will fulfill the role of a mediator, someone who links more sides together, who is the meeting point, the communicator, the representative of very many different elements or groups of people or ideologies, and you are going to provide the chance of harmony. Your being, your persona, so to speak, can become a platform for, in order to many different sides, many different maybe contradicting forces, ideologies, groups of people to meet and reach harmony. So you need to hold out, because in the present moment, right now, you have no idea how important your work and whatever you are doing is for the world and in your own personal life as well. But fortunately, even if it's hard, even if it's stressful, oppressive, even if it involves using muscles you haven't used for years, so to speak, the Prince of Coins is a very positive card, because it means that the universe isn't just tasking you with this, or maybe it's not the universe, maybe it's just your option, your choice. So whatever you chose to do, you're not alone in this. The universe is definitely going to be sending you help, guidance, support. And since this is a material card, as in coins, the element of earth, that support is not just gonna be like intuition or synchronicity or a positive and inspirational dream you have at night, but rather it's actual help. May it be material resources, may it be allies, may it be people sharing your vision, your ideologies, the work that you do. It can also represent maybe a sponsor, maybe getting a support, help, or offer, for example, like from an organization, from a company, from a group of people. But at the same time, if you are struggling materially in your own life, this can also represent very significant help, either from a specific person, from like humanitarian effort, from the government, from officials. Either way, Prince of Coins definitely represents help and new opportunities to make your situation easier, bearable, tolerable, and to always keep that little light at the end of the tunnel, the light of hope burning in your heart, because you matter, you're really important. Your work, your persona, your soul is really important, not just for the world, but for the universe. Now, this reading is closed by the Two of Cups and the Emperor, and this comes through as a guidance, as an advice for some people who are really doing all they can, who are truly working hard, who are investing everything good they have within themselves without shying away into their work, into helping, into creating, into inspiring. But this is taking a very heavy toll on their minds, on their souls, on their psyche, so to speak, because they're just consuming their inner sun. And this is why, for this reading, the negative, the shadow side of the Emperor is what is causing a blockage. So the universe is telling you, do not be proud. You are also are a human being, so you're vulnerable. You have moments of downs. You have moments of severe loneliness. You have moments when you listen to 10 million people a day, but not one single soul listens to you, your story, how you feel deep inside. And even if you're a superhero, even if you're magical, even if you studied all your life and have 10 million diplomas in your repertoire, you still are a human being who needs help. So the combination of these two cards are inspiring you. Do not be too proud to ask for help. Do not be too proud to reach out, because there is help out there, because you are one of those people who is providing help for others. So the universe is absolutely mirroring all of this in your own life as well. So there are people out there who are always ready to listen, who are always ready to help, to give you that big hug that you actually need. So whenever you have problems, whenever you have moments of severe loneliness, whenever you have moments of deep melancholy, so to speak, please reach out, because there is help out there. There are people in your lives who are there for you and who wish to help you. Just that if you do not ask, if you put on the mask of the emperor who has everything under control, who is the rock and the support for everyone unconditionally, well then no one is gonna know that you need help. No one is gonna know how you feel deep inside. No one is gonna see your vulnerability. So it would be really advised not to hide it, not to be proud, not to take that Seven of Wands, the self-defense, the whole standing your ground, into extreme, because when your inner resource runs out, when your inner sun starts to fade, then you need to feed it. The soul needs food, the psyche needs food, our emotional world needs food just like the body, and that food can come from meditation, for example, from spiritual practices, from whatever, fantasy, science fiction, escapism. There's so many things that actually feed our souls, but sometimes it doesn't matter how ingenious you are, it doesn't matter how strong and resourceful you are, nothing can substitute the mind and the heart of another human being. Even if your meditation practices and your spirituality is of the highest possible expression that this world permits, there's sometimes, especially when the world around you is in chaos, you also need a good word, you also need an embrace, you also need someone just to listen 2 minutes to you that I'm feeling down today and I'm feeling lonely, and someone to tell you, oh, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. You need this. You are not a robot, so don't be too proud. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this was useful, especially for other like psychologists, spiritualists, guides, people who support others. Because these are really tough times, so don't be intimidated, don't shy away, but at the same time, know that there's help and support out there for you guys as well. The universe knows just how hard it is for you. It knows that you're doing everything you can to just stay safe, to stay sane, most importantly, to do whatever you can. And also, it is so sorry that it played out this way and you have all this psychological and spiritual responsibility in your life, which is like a huge mountain you have to bear on your back. But all of this is gonna be rewarded when the time comes, and that time is definitely not too far away. We're not talking about tens of years, we're maybe 2 years the most. And that 2 years means when your life is actually going to be quiet and peaceful, but support important progress, important personal epiphanies, and soul level realization, divine help, everything you need is going to enter your life throughout those 2 years. So please hold on, have faith in yourself, have faith in your life story, and thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you so much for being who you are, for being as brave as you are, and for not allowing your past, all your traumas, all the hardship that you have been through all throughout 2019 to turn you into a monster. It turned you into a guardian angel in the lives of others, and this is the biggest miracle in your life. Well, thank you so much again. Have a safe and blessed day, everyone. Bye for now.